Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. We also have Instagram and Twitter. You can find us at TPM Videos.
Audio animatronics?
Right, audio animatronics.
Since 1963, audio animatronics have been a big part of the rides and attractions at the Disney theme parks. From A1 figures to the first A100 figure and now the A1000 figures of today, animatronic technology has made leaps and bounds. With more precision and lifelike movements, we're faced with some pretty impressive robotic figures. At all 4 Walt Disney World theme parks in Florida, you can find hundreds of animatronics, but there are a select few that deserve the spotlight. Many of these figures marked milestones for their time. So today we're going to be counting down the top 10 most impressive animatronics at Walt Disney World. Number 10. As you set sail on Pirates of the Caribbean at Magic Kingdom, the ride uses over 100 different audio animatronics, but a few figures stand out. Captain Jack Sparrow was added to the crew of animatronics in 2006. Many people have been fooled thinking it's an actual actor, since the figure perfectly captures Johnny Depp's mannerisms and movements. He appears 3 times on the ride, and although these A100 figures have been around for almost 15 years, they never fail to impress. The newest audio animatronic is Red, who made her debut in 2018 when Disney introduced the new auction scene. Compared to the old Redhead, this A100 figure is very fluid with a wider range of motion, making her appear quite lifelike. She complements the auctioneer next door, who's another A100 figure. He was upgraded in the early 90s, and there was a time when he was one of, if not the most impressive figure at Walt Disney World. Animating 1 second of movement for an A100 figure takes 8 hours to program. And that in itself is impressive, just knowing the amount of hours that were spent bringing these characters right to life. Number 9. In 2014, the 7 Dwarfs Mine Train debuted at Magic Kingdom, which features 7 state-of-the-art animatronics. With the 7 dwarf figures, Walt Disney Imagineering took audio animatronic technology to a new level, calling them 3D audio animatronics. The dwarfs utilized projected faces, which had been seen before with Buzz Lightyear in the 90s, but since then, technology advanced, allowing for more precision in the animatronic animation. The projected faces allowed the squash and stretch seen in the film's animation to come right to life in the animatronics. Every figure has multiple functions, and the fluidity of these animatronics is incredible. All of the elements tied together really brings these classic Disney characters to life. Number 8. Racing into Disney's Hollywood Studios, you can find the impressive Lightning McQueen in Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. This audio animatronic made his debut in March of 2019, bringing this Pixar character to life in a way that's never been seen before at Walt Disney World.
That's why I started this Racing Academy, so I could pay that forward to all of you.
The animators did a fantastic job with this audio animatronic. He's an extremely fluid figure. It's like he literally jumped off the screen right into the attraction. Now, since he is a car, his range of motion in terms of functionality is sort of limited. But what really makes this figure impressive is his mouth. It looks like the animatronic has a physical mouth that's opening and closing, but it's really just a clever rear projection. It allows these subtle, nuanced mouth movements that could only be achieved with a screen, which in turn creates this lifelike character.
Consider yourselves honorary members of my Lightning McQueen racing team. Now go out there and get your tires dirty. Ka-chow!
Have a great drive, everybody!
It's really something else seeing this audio animatronic in person. Number 7. In 2019, Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge became home to the big, gritty Ithorian Doc Ondar, who's ready to barter with visitors. When it comes to advanced audio animatronic figures, Disney delivered a highly impressive figure for a gift shop. Although Doc Ondar is caged, you're able to get pretty close to see all the details, especially on his face. Many electric actuators are at work that allow the subtle movements of his eyes blinking to his cheek and mouth ripples while he mumbles. You're convinced you're faced with a living, breathing Ithorian, and he's actually quite large. The animatronic doesn't have as many movement functions like other figures, but otherwise, he's still incredibly fluid and very impressive. Number 6. Next, we're gonna step right up and experience the sensational Mr. Potato Head animatronic in the queue of Toy Story Mania.
Step right up and take a ride. My toy friends are all inside.
Standing approximately 5 feet tall, Mr. Potato Head made his debut in May of 2008. The Spud later disappeared for 2.5 years in December of 2015, then made his grand return when Toy Story Land opened in June of 2018. Disney definitely updated the animatronic during his hiatus, because his range of motion is more fluid than it's ever been. He looks great, and this figure actually marks a few audio animatronic milestones. Mr. Potato Head was one of the first audio animatronics that actually moved his lips to form words and vowels, instead of just opening and closing his mouth. He also has the most recorded dialogue of any animatronic ever, with about 20 minutes worth. He's also the first animatronic to remove a piece of itself. Sometimes he does a little bit where he removes his ear. This was groundbreaking for an animatronic. Now just take note that you can only see Mr. Potato Head in the standby queue. You won't see him if you use FastPass. But if you ask me, it's worth it to do standby just so you can experience this incredible animatronic.
Folks, I'll give you a hint. This is the part where you clap. Thank you, thank you. Hey, look, a standing ovation. You should have.
Number 5. Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid at Magic Kingdom is filled with many animatronics, but the true star is Ursula, who stands 7.5 feet tall and 12 feet wide. She was first developed in 2011 for Ariel's undersea adventure at Disney California Adventure, then debuted at Magic Kingdom in 2012. At the time, she was one of the largest animatronics Walt Disney Imagineering had developed. Ursula has 33 different functions, and when you're up close, you see the fluidity and precision of the movements. This includes her facial expressions, the squash and stretch of her torso, and the gestures of her tentacles. By using stretch velvet on the torso and a flexible rubber on the rest of her body, the figure always keeps its shape. This allows the characterization traits from the film to be brought right to life with this impressive animatronic.
Yes, I do.
Number 4. Over in World Showcase at Epcot, the Norway Pavilion is home to Frozen Ever After, and these audio animatronics are top-notch. At the time in 2016, they were the most advanced animatronics Disney had developed, featuring the first all-electric figures as opposed to pneumatics or hydraulics. The Olaf animatronics, as well as Elsa during the Let It Go sequence, are ones to pay special attention to. Now, although Olaf is small, he's actually one of the most complex figures due to his size. All the components that allow him to have such lifelike movements needed to be crammed into a very small and compact space. This all-electric technology allows for increased fluidity. A great example is the Elsa animatronic, which is so fluid that you could easily mistake her movements for digital animation. Combine this fluid movement from Disney Imagineering with facial animation from Walt Disney Studios, and you're faced with some very impressive audio animatronics. Number 3. Some of the newest Disney audio animatronics can be found on Rise of the Resistance in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The attraction features 65 robotic figures to help tell this Star Wars story. And one of the first impressive figures you'll see is Lieutenant Beck.
Engage repulsors and hold on, recruits. All ships, launch.
If you grab a spot up front, you can get really close to this figure, where you see so many subtle movements from his eyes blinking to his nostrils flaring.
We're picking up an unusual signal. Are you spotting anything?
Then once you're on the physical ride, you'll get a chance to see Kylo Ren and Hux.
You will tell me the location of the secret base, and then I will destroy you and the Resistance.
He demonstrates a high level of animatronic fluidity and shows off some of the newest technology Disney has developed. To follow up the A100 figures, Imagineering developed the humanoid A1000 figures. This completely replaced hydraulic actuators with electric ones and added some custom elements as well. The rumor of one of the Kylo Ren figures being the Wicked Witch from the Great Movie Ride is not true, since Disney told media outlets there are 3 humanoid A1000 figures, the 2 Kylos and Hux. The Wicked Witch was only an A100 figure, but next, we're going to talk about an animatronic that better shows off the nuances of the A1000 technology. Number 2. Over in Millennium Falcon's Smugglers Run, you can find Hondo Ohnaka in the pre-show, who is also an A1000 animatronic figure.
This is the group I've been waiting for, yes! Come in!
Standing 7 feet tall, Hondo was the first humanoid A1000 figure to make his debut in the parks. Not to mention that he's one of the most advanced figures Disney has developed to date. With a total of 51 functions, including 10 in his head, Hondo moves in a hyper-realistic manner. When you walk into the pre-show, if you didn't know he was an audio animatronic, you'd be convinced it was an actor dressed as Hondo Ohnaka. That is how detailed and fluid this animatronic figure is.
Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime. I need flight crews to transport this valuable merchandise across the galaxy.
Even his knee bends as he turns and moves, creating the illusion that he's actually walking. There's always constant subtle movements coming from this animatronic. This impressive advanced technology really opens up the possibilities of what animatronics will be able to achieve in future Disney attractions.
Move along, my friends. Listen carefully and remember, the better you work together, the more you earn.
Number 1. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, you can find the most impressive audio animatronic, and that's the Navi Shaman of Songs, who can be found on Navi River Journey in Pandora. The Navi Shaman made her debut in 2017, and although she's no longer the most advanced figure in terms of robotic technology, she still represents a huge achievement in animatronic functions. According to Walt Disney Imagineering, she has the most functionality out of any animatronic they've produced. Her body alone has 39 functions, and her face has 42 separate functions, which allows the character to embody these precise, lifelike expressions. She moves with such fluidity and ease. You're just drawn to this character, who's pretty much alive right in front of you. Truly, it's still the most impressive audio animatronic at Walt Disney World.
I look forward to seeing you on Pandora. Well, not te kame.
So what's your favorite audio animatronic at Walt Disney World? And what are your thoughts on this hyper-realistic technology Disney is introducing into the parks? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below to start a conversation, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video.